so with anything you do, you always have to think back, okay, where do I need to be in the future, right? What's the end going to look like? And so in our session here, in terms of, and in your business, as you're trying to grow in the government space, I want you to kind of see what the end needs to look like. And if you start to see what the end looks like a little bit, then as we dive into the details, you say, oh, now it starts to make sense, right? So this first session of here, I want to just talk about government contracting, 5 years, 2 years, 18 years down the road, what your business is going to look like. And so, and then as we go throughout the rest of today, the rest of tomorrow, it starts to make sense to you. So that's where we're going to start, beginning with the end in mind. So I'm going to share a little bit about myself. I originally from Laos, and about 5.5 years ago, the Government Contracting Association was founded. Part of it because there was such a need for small businesses to break into the government market. And I saw that there was a lot of women businesses, a lot of veteran businesses, minority businesses. They're not getting the opportunities as the larger companies. Larger companies have great access. In fact, large company wins about 80% of all government contracts. How do you feel about that? Not good, right? And so, and I feel sad, then I got mad, right? And then I went from mad and decided to take action about it. And so that's how the Government Contractor Association was founded. But a little bit about myself. I want to share a few things unique so that you guys can start to get to know me from a different angle, not just as the government contracting person. But a few years ago, on New Year's morning, I saved somebody's life. My son and I, he was young, and we, of all days to go shopping, right? Don't go on New Year's Day because nothing's open. But my wife needed something, and being the good husband that I wanted to be, I said, okay, dear, if you need something on New Year's Day, I will go out there and get it for you. So we got to this to the Kroger shopping center, and there was this car. It was smoking, and I didn't know what was going on. And my first instinct was get far away from it, right? And then my second instinct was maybe there's somebody in the car that needs help. And my son, he's in the back of the seat, so I didn't want to go too close to the vehicle. It might blow up or something. So I parked about 10 car lengths away, and I ran up to the car, and I looked in there, and there was a young man with his seat all the way back, and his car was smoking, and I thought maybe he's unconscious. So I started tapping on the window and try to open the door. As I tried to do that, he woke up. And as it turns out is that he had been probably drunk all night, and his foot was on the gas pedal while he was asleep the whole time. And his engine, the engine block was smoking and was about to get caught on fire. And so they would take him out, and probably about 5 minutes later, he was able to fully gain conscious, and then he eventually took off again, let the car cool down, and he took off. And so, and that's kind of my nature. My parents raised me that if there's something in need, just you got to take action. And so that just became me, right? And so as an entrepreneur, when I saw that women were getting 4.6% of contracting dollars, and women represents 41% of the population, someone had to do something about it. And I look at minority-owned businesses. Minorities represent 35% of the population, but they're only getting 5.4% of contracting dollars. Someone had to do something about it. And I look at veteran businesses. The goal for veteran businesses is 3%, but they're only winning 2.7% of federal contracting dollars. And someone had to do something about it. And so that's kind of how I got here. It was just ingrained in me that if somebody needs something, you got to do something to help out. If it's in your power, you do something about it. And I love what I do here. It's not about saving business. It's about building businesses. Although sometimes we have to do a little saving also, right? And there's a few businesses that we have to help them resuscitate those businesses so that they can grow. And it's been amazing. We've helped lots and lots of companies. Um, I've grown multiple business from zero. Come on in, grab a seat. There's seats up here, and there's one seat back over there. So up here is perfect. Spitting distance. That's what I'm talking about. So you know, I've grown multiple business myself, so I understand where you're coming from as a business owner. I first started my business when I was about 20 years old. It was a comic book baseball card shop, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, we went from a few boxes of baseball cards to we had a Mickey Mantle rookie card, a Willie Mays rookie card, a Michael Jordan rookie card, all kinds of cool stuff. I did that for a few years, and I went overseas to become a missionary, and did that for about a year, and decided to come back to the U.S. And then came back to the U.S. and then got into corporate America and went to work for Motorola. Who here works for a large corporation, or have worked for a large corporation in the past? Okay, a few of you. And corporate America is awesome, right? For other people. Yeah. And I realized that it's awesome for other people. And it wasn't, you know, some people thrive in corporate America, and you know, nothing wrong with corporate America. We need that to sustain this economy and to grow the nation from a GDP perspective. But I realized that in corporate America, not everybody can thrive there. And I suffocated there, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna do something about it. So I decided to go out there and start my own business. I had $300 to my name, and so no one can say you can't start a business without any money, right? So I had $300 to my name, and people would say, how are you going to start a business with $300? Well, guess what? Business is not about money. Money is a byproduct. Business is about people. Business is about relationships. Business is about finding a problem and finding a solution. So I took that $300 and grew that furniture business from $300 to $10 million worth of furniture. And I sold that business. I got into real estate, bought a lot of stuff in real estate, flipping properties. Some of you own property, some of you own real estate, some of you have been investors in the past, some of you have been burned by the real estate market when it crashed. Well, it was a hard journey for us in real estate because we lost everything when the real estate market crashed. And so we learned a lot from that. But it was at that time that I discovered government contracting. So sometimes things happen for a reason, right? When the real estate market crashed, that's how I discovered government contracting. I met a lieutenant colonel who had retired from the Army, and he was trying to help business, but he didn't understand business. So it made a perfect match. He knew procurement, I knew business, and we came together and we started a consulting company. 3 years into that business, I realized that small businesses need help, and they can't afford consulting fees. And so I decided to start the association so that we can really help the small business community out there. So that's a little bit about the history. Now, since then, I've helped lots and lots of companies get to millions of dollars in their own revenue. As an organization, our members and what we've done here, and as a team, we've helped businesses win more than $850 million in government contracts. So our goal is by the end of this year, we want to get to $1 billion. And so we want you to be part of that journey. So some of you are here, and almost every single week, we get news from one of our members or one of our coaching students say, hey, I just got a $4 million contract. And so we're working our way to get into $1 billion by the end of this year. So what does paradise look like for you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as someone who's supporting a company in the government market? Paradise is however you envision to be. That's the beautiful thing about this, right? So think about this, sir. Think what the end result will look like. Think about a few months from now, 18 months from now. As you take these steps, sir, as you lay the foundation, as you put the infrastructure, as you take this event here, this boot camp, and use this here as a seed to grow this, you plant the seed like an apple tree. And this apple tree, as you plant it, it's going to grow, and you're going to water it, you're going to nurture it, and it's going to mature. And over the years, it's going to produce an orchard of fruit year after year after year. And that's what the government contracting can do for your business. And so you plant these seeds here, but it's going to do a lot of great things for you. And when you're looking at when you plant a seed, right, do you look at it every day? No. Say grow, 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 grow? No. You just have faith, right? You plant the seed, and you know that you plant a whole row of apple trees, and you don't go there every single day and say, why is it that I don't see any sprouts? And you don't do that, because you know that within this seed here, if you plant the seed and you do your part is to water and make sure it's fertilized, and your part is to make sure that there's no bugs eating it, and make sure that all the weeds are gone. That's it. That's your part. The seed will take care of itself. And government contracting is a little bit like that. You're planting, we're all farmers, and we're planting seeds. And every time you learn a new word, for example, here we teach you Governese, right? And as you're learning Governese, you learn what a DCAA, what that stands for. You learn what the FAR is. Anybody know what the FAR is? Okay, what does it stand for?
Well, it's your federal acquisition regulation.
Okay.
And it guides your purchases for the federal government.
Yes.
It provides your regulations.
Mm-hmm.
I used to use FAR.
Yeah. So Chris loves the FAR. It's the best read you can ever do, right?
Yes, it is.
And the FAR is the Federal Acquisition Regulation, FAR. That's what it stands for. And it's about almost 2,000 pages. And it's the most, if you ever wake up in the middle of the night, you want to fall back asleep, read the FAR. Because they will put you back to sleep. So Chris is one of the very few people that actually love it. Now, sometimes by loving something, that's how you grow in the industry. And so every time you learn a new acronym, a new vocabulary words, you're speaking Governese, you're planting seeds. And you're planting these seeds, and these seeds will grow and will mature, and it can produce fruit for your company year after year after year. Now, at the same time, we can't just plant, as a farmer, right? You can't just plant all apple trees. You have a little farm. You got to plant some strawberries too, right? Because apple seeds, you eat years from now. Strawberries, when do you eat it? At the end of, within a few months, right? Because you plant that, that's quick. And so I'm going to teach you, as you're learning government contracting, we're going to teach you how to go after government contracting that's going to produce revenue quickly for your company. And then we're going to teach you how to produce revenue consistently over a long period of time for your company. And so just to give you an illustration, what that means is subcontracting with another large company or teaming with another company is like planting strawberries. Within a few months, you're eating that fruit. So those are quick, right? And then if you're planting apple trees, that's building your infrastructure and learning and educating yourself. And that's meant for long term, because once you build this infrastructure, once you build your team, you're going to consistently grow year over year over year. And so that's what we're going to do here. So that's a little bit of the picture. You're going to be a farmer. We're going to plant a lot of seeds. And we're going to go out there and win a lot of government contracts. So let's dive into what this looked like, what Paradise looked like. So in the government space, the government have expectations for you as a business owner. And one of the first things that they expect from you is that they expect you to be properly registered. They may not or will not always teach you how to register, to be a vendor. In fact, sometimes they may have class here and there, but they don't assume the responsibility to make sure that you are properly registered. And you as a business owner have to take care of that yourself. They expect you to have capabilities. They expect you to have the proper resources and the financial means to do it. If you win a contract, they expect you to have mobilization capital to get started on the project. If you bid on it and you win, if you don't have the resource, they're thinking, well, why did you bid on it, right? And so they expect you to have these things in place. They don't want to teach you to do these things here. They expect you to know how to market to them, how to engage them, how to have a strategy. And very rarely will a government agency email you to say, hey, can you do this here? Now, once you build a good relationship, they will do that. But starting off, you're going to be knocking on 50 doors, and maybe 5 doors will open for you. You might knock in 500 doors, and maybe 5 will open, depending on how you go about this, right? And they expect you to know how to build and foster relationships with them. And fostering relations in the government space is a little different. We'll dive deep into that in a second. And then they expect you to be knowledgeable, to speak their language. You can't go to the government and speak commercialese. You got to speak governese. They expect you to be knowledgeable. They expect you to understand. When they talk to you, they want you to understand them. And they're not going to provide a translator for you. So you have to speak their language. They want you to be able to identify opportunities and to know how to go and how they operate and how the procurement process look. They expect you to know how to respond. They expect you to be responsive, R&R. They expect you to be able to add value to the organization, to the agency. So these things here are on you. And sometimes they may help you here and there. There are some contracting officers that are very helpful. And they don't clock out at 4 o'clock. Some of them actually stay till 5 or 6 to help businesses. But most of them, they clock out at 4 o'clock. And if it's 4:01, they're not going to be there anymore. And so it just depends. Most of them are like that. Now, not all of them are like that. There's some great government staff out there, small business specialists out there. There's some great contracting officers out there. But most of them, they expect you to take the initiative to engage them. So this next quadrant here, this is what you expect out of the government. You expect that the government is going to be a contracting resource for you, that they have that they're going to have the money, the contracting opportunities. Well, guess what? They do. They are a resource to your business. And Mara's going to dive deep into it in terms of how much resources that means to your business there. And you expect them to give you clear and concise directions and information. Is that true?
You expect it.
That's not true. You expect that, but that's not true. Because that's your expectation, but that's not always true. And sometimes, let's take a solicitation, right? A request for a proposal. They put that out, and the requirements, you see all this stuff here, and you say, wow, this is so confusing. Well, partly because the contracting officer, they took a project from 5 years ago, and they changed the title, and because they got so many projects they have to put out, right? They don't have time to be completely thorough with everything. And then you realize that, well, this doesn't make sense. Well, this regulation doesn't exist anymore, or these things have changed. Or our industry doesn't need this. This is an old standard, and so things change. But they're taking the old solicitation and they put it back out. And so it may not be clear. Now, give you a real example, working with a company yesterday. And on the project, it says sources sought. That's the title of this project. Now, what does sources sought mean? Does that mean they're looking for a proposal? No. Danielle, are they looking for a proposal?
No, they're just trying to see who's going to be out there to be able to do the work. If there's any contractors
Yeah.
to fulfill the work.
Yep,
Yeah.
Chris?
That's a RFQC, qualified contract. They're looking for the qualified pool of candidates.
Yes. Yeah. And so in a sources sought, it's just a market survey. But right underneath that, they'll say, hey, we want you to submit a proposal. You need to have 3 parts. You need to have a technical proposal. You need to have a pricing part to this proposal. And I'm looking at it, hey, dude, the title says sources sought. And so it's not very clear. Because in that situation, in a sources sought, you usually submit your capability statement and a cover sheet and a few documents that they want. Like usually 5 to 7 pages. And that's about it. But they want a whole proposal submitted with that. And it's due next Friday. So sometimes they don't give you clear directions. And so you have to be able to understand all that, overcome that, ask a lot of questions, and get some help along the way. So that's part of it. They expect you, or you expect that they're going to be responsive to you. And that's true some of the time, not all the time. And then you expect them to pay you on time. What about that? Is that true or false?
That's false.
No, it's different nowadays. Used to be, well, that's false. But today, that's absolutely true. If you do the work and you invoice them, you are paid within 30 days. In fact, as a small business, the regulation says that they have to pay you in 15 days to small businesses.
Okay.
So for small, now the problem arises when the work wasn't done completely and they didn't sign off on it. Then that's like anybody, right? In the commercial market, if the work wasn't completely done, no one's going to pay. And so it's the same thing in the government. Work has to be done. They have to sign off on it. But once they sign off on it and you invoice the government, it's like clockwork. 7 to 15 days, small businesses are getting paid. After 30 days, there's a penalty on the government. They have to pay you penalties. So that is one of the greatest things that's happened in the last 7, 8 years, to where they shifted to electronic funds transferred, and it's, you're getting paid on a timely basis. So, and then you expect the government to be value add to your organization, in which they are. Once you break into the government market and you build a relationship, that contracting officer will eventually become your best friend, and they're going to award you contract after contract after contract, and you're going to be able to grow with that one relationship to millions of dollars. And so why? Because they don't always have time to look for new candidates, right? And so they rather go to someone that they're comfortable with. So that's all part of the process there. So let's go to the next one here. So what I expect out of you as a business owner, I expect all the things that the government expects, but I also expect that you're going to commit to your business, commit time, efforts, and financial resources. Nothing comes without any investment, right? And part of it is investment in terms of time, investment in terms of financial resources. Now, sometimes there may be an event in D.C. Last week, there's a big event in D.C. It's the Osterbu Conference. It's one of the largest conferences up in D.C. every year, and that's an investment that you should make every year. Now, for those of you that are brand new, you may not just start attending a whole bunch of conferences because they can become expensive. You want to be strategic about it, but then as you mature, most conferences, there's about 4 or 5 good conferences every year that you should attend. And it's those conferences that you start to get to know people, learn new things, and build relationships. So investment in yourself and being open. The more open you are in terms of working with the association, the more we're going to be able to help you. Because if you're saying, like a company came to us and said, hey, I just won this contract, and it's a small little project, $100,000, and I don't have the money to get started on it. Well, through that relationship, we said, man, this is a consistent problem. So through that relationship, we've created a fund, a private fund, because we saw the need over and over. So we created a private fund to help businesses have money when they win a contract. And so it was that openness of his struggles of trying to fulfill a contract. And we were able to use the fund to lend him $10,000, so he was able to go and fulfill the contract, and he made $50,000 profit on the project. On a $100,000 project, he made $50,000. Now, if he didn't have the fund, he would have lost all of that. And so openness is very important, and R&R, and being able to add value to the association as well. And let's go to this last one here. So in terms of what you expect out of us, right? Because you're here. You have some level of expectation from us as well. As an association, we're here to serve and to give to you. But then as a member of the association, as a participant in the boot camp, there's a level of expectations you have. You expect us to be the subject matter expert. Now, I have read over 10,000 websites. To organize that, and I have captured over hundreds and hundreds. I have a master list of all the most important websites that exist in the government market. I've read the FAR, not all of it yet, Chris, because every time I read it, sometimes it puts me to sleep. So maybe we need to have a FAR reading party.
Okay. I like the FAR.
Yes. Now, as it relates to the FAR, one of the most critical part of the FAR is FAR Part 19. So if you want to read the FAR, go to FAR Part 19, and that is probably the best place to start. And it talks about small businesses and why the government needs small business and how the small business program works. So that's one of the best part of the FAR. But you expect us to be subject matter expert, and we try to be our best at that. I know a lot of things. In the last 9, 10 years that I've been doing government work, I have probably amassed about 50, 60 years of knowledge. Somebody who retires working 40 years in the government probably doesn't know as much as I do. And not to boast, but we have to be that to be able to help our members. And then you expect us to give you clear and a process to fast track you to the government space, and we do that. And we have lots of tools and resources. You expect that we can help you identify opportunities, help you navigate the maze of government contracting, and all of that we will do to help you. So this is the 10 steps that the government goes through to engage your business. And if you look at this here, now obviously they go through more than 10 steps, right? But I narrowed down to 10 steps so that you can just kind of start to see what they go through to get you to you. So they go through a need. They say we have a need, and we have a need for this product or this services. Then they engage you, and then they go through a budget to where they said, hey, we got a budget, and we've got to find someone. And then the budget, it goes through Congress. It gets appropriated. If it's a lot of money, it goes through Congress. If it's small, it could be a decision can be made from the departments itself. And then they go through a forecast. In the forecast, they say we're going to spend this 5 months from now or 6 years from now. They go through a forecast. And then the fourth step is they go through a market survey. And this is the sources sought phase. They want to see who can do this kind of work. And it's at this step here that most small business, if you understand this is where you can have the greatest success. Some small businesses wait until it gets to step number 5, where it becomes a full solicitation. Well, at that point, it's too late. So you want to get to it at the market service stage. That's how you win sole source contracts. And so we'll talk more details later. And then proposal, they go through a proposal phase to where you submit your proposal, they review it, and then they award the contract. And then step number 8 is they manage your performance. And then step number 9 is they make sure that you are in compliance. And then finally, they close out the project so they can move on to the next one. So these are the 10 steps that they go through to engage you. So let's talk about 12 steps that you go through. So the first step is assessment. You have to figure out where you are. And later on, we're going to go through all this here in more detail. So I just want to kind of give you a little bit of the big picture. Then you go through a strategy, having a strategy of how you're going to engage the government. Then you have to learn, educate yourself. Có ý chủ cỡ ý à lù cha giờ có chỉ tàu tàu cho lù ô hà lù trụ là tham bàn có chỉ tàu nhà được là tham bàn, right? So you got to educate yourself, and then you got to get registered. And part of register is getting your certification. All of that falls under registration, and then building your brand, your image, and then marketing. And setting up your business so that you can go out there and build relationships so that you can be successful, and then finding opportunities, and then learning to write proposals. So Danielle's a proposal writer. Raise your hand, Danielle. So if you need help, she's a great proposal writer, and she's learning a lot, and she's actually 90% there on winning her first proposal in the government space. So she just started, but she's pretty awesome at it. And then step number 10 is performance. You delivering your work, and then being in compliance, and then closing out the project. So you go through 12 steps to engage the government go through 10 steps to engage you. And so in all of this here, part of what we have to do is take government contracting and simplify it into a way, into a formula that everyone can understand that. And so we developed the 5P process, which is what is our success formula. And so after today, everybody can walk out of here and say, hey, I know government contracting. It's just 5 Ps, right? And the fifth one, you don't have to worry about, because if you do the first 4, you get to the 5th P. And why are you in business?
To make money.
To make a profit, right? To make money. So you do that to get to profit. Preparation, promotion, proposal, performance, and then you get to profit. And so that's kind of the 5 Ps that we're going to get to. So this whole boot camp, all this training will lead back to this formula here. And you're going to start to see that everything falls under one of the 4 phases. And then the end result is you go through specific things to you as a vendor. You go through the preparation phase. There's the assessment, strategy, education, and registration. That's the first P. And then under promotion, you go through image, marketing, and relationship. That's the second P. And then proposal, opportunities, proposal writing itself, and then performance is delivering the work, compliance, closure, and then getting to profit. And then the government goes through, we go through a phase, and then the government goes through their 10 phases as well. So as you can see here, we see you from a different perspective, the government sees you from a different perspective, and then you see this whole process from a different perspective. So, And you can see this here. We're going to go into these details, all of this here throughout the whole process. What I want to do is kind of give you a quick glimpse of what it's going to look like. And these are all the relationships that you need to have. And this is the relationship triangle. You need to have a relationship with large companies, small business. You need to build your own team down here. You need to work with government agencies, work with contracting officers, and build small business relationship with government agencies, their small business specialists. And again, we're going to go through those details, but I want to kind of introduce that all to you, that this is where we're trying to go. This is what you got to build in your organization to have long-term success. And then finally, these are the people that you have to build in your organization. $750,000 worth of resources that you got to have. So what does that mean? Who here has $750,000 of resources to invest in your business? Very few small business can do that. Now, a large company, they just write a check, right? But small business, you can't do that. And so that's why you're here in this training, so that you can learn all these things. So this is what you're learning. You're investing in yourself. You're investing that you become the capture manager. Now, capture manager is a business development person. It's a salesperson, relationship person. In the government market, we call it capture manager. So that's you. You're wearing that hat. You're also wearing the hat as a researcher, the cost estimator. You're also wearing the hat as the brand manager, creating your brand and your marketing message. And then you're also wearing the project manager, the contract manager. You're the contract specialist. You are the compliance manager, because there's red tape and more document quality assurance program. You're the proposal writer. And then you're also the legal team and the CPA, all of that stuff, right? The compliance manager is also the CPA sometimes. And you can see it's very expensive. So this is why very few businesses are successful in the government market, because they don't have this kind of infrastructure. And so as an association, we try to teach you to wear these hats. And where you can't wear those hats, we teach you to find the resources to help you. And so this is where we're going. Now, in your binders, in your book, there's more information about that. I put actually an article about building your contracting team. And so if you turn to the next few pages, you'll see that in terms of, and read up more in details. And so our time is up. So I'll take one question. Any questions about what we covered today? Chris?
My concern is about assembling the team. I realize that if I'm supposed to wear all those hats, then I won't have time to breathe. So, and do anything of quality. So my big concern is, how do I find the talent to help do that, especially if I'm getting started?
Sure. So I'll give you a very quick tip. Now, there's many different ways of how you get there.
Danielle here, but outside of proposal writer,
Well, that's why you have to equip yourself. That's part of it. But obviously, you can't do all of this here. And so one of the company that I work with, she's a solopreneur, just like a few of you, right? She doesn't even have a team. It's just her. And so I said, to grow your business, you have to take some risk. And by taking risk, maybe you have to bring in a partner. And so what we did with her was we went and found someone who have some government experience but don't own a business. And we brought that person on as a partner in her company. So that person owns 9.9% of her 8A company, because her 8A company is small. She's one of a few small products, but she needs help. And so that person came on board, owned a small part of her company, and we didn't give him all 9.9% interest day one. We put it on a vesting schedule that he has to be there over a period of 3 years to earn all of it. And he gets a small salary. So instead of just working for free as a partner, because partners work for free, right, until there's revenue. So she gave him a small salary so that so he can grow into the company, and she gets the help, he gets to participate, and so they're working as a team. And so that's one way of doing it. And there's many other ways, but maybe in a different conversation because of time, I'll share some other ways in terms of how to build a team.